Hi, my name's Wanda. I'm going to channel for you. That means I allow love energy to pass through me. And we're going to have an energetic exchange with these folks here. So we never know what's going to happen. If you want to do a private session, I can do those. Just let me know. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to press subscribe. Okay, so Jessica's going to play a note for us, and that sort of begins our energetic exchange. Okay, go ahead. There is much to be said for keeping your calm, keeping your head, while others around you are in distress or unease. There are very few special humans who maintain a certain connection with energy, or some call it their higher selves, some sort of knowing that everything is just the way it is to be. So there are always these, it's always necessary to have a certain number of humans who stay calm during situations of great excitement or anger. And we are bringing this forth because the humans that have gathered here have spent their time understanding this in different ways. So what is happening here is two humans who have had different experiences, and yet they understand exactly what it's like to remain calm when others are in distress. So we would like to focus on it for a moment, for you're not the only humans that are able to stay calm during times of excitement. But since you are gathered here, it means that this will be a focus for us, a focus for you to have a look at this. So why, first of all, are the masses going hysterical? Why are they angry or sad, or what's up with them? And we don't mean just at this moment in time, because there are many, many moments in the history of man where humans go crazy, they lose their minds, they become like animals, perhaps. So there are always times throughout history when they're like this. So so first of all, there are many circumstances, and humans often act like a pack. So whatever one does, they all do. Now, they find great comfort in doing what the rest of the pack does, because it's important for them to fit in. They feel like they're safe if they're in a pack. If they're alone, they are not, they are vulnerable, they appear weak. So most human beings wish to fit in with others, and that means keeping your opinions to yourself, or not having any opinions, or just going along and pretending you agree with everything, even if you don't. So that's what the general population is. So if one is mad, they're all mad. If one is sad, they're all sad. And there's great comfort in that. The humans that are gathered here are not like this. Now, you've had different life situations, as we have said, but you'll both think for yourself. You think outside of the pack. You're both very uncomfortable running with the animals, we would say. You know, there's a certain part of you that's pretending you fit in with them, but you don't, because you can't buy everything. And when you're in a pack, you have to buy everything. You have to believe everything. You don't get to pick, I'll believe that, I won't believe this, I will, I won't. When you're in the pack, you believe the whole thing. So now you have gathered here individuals who look different but are very much the same in this manner. You think for yourselves. Now, those who think for themselves are a little bit away from the pack, and that's why you remain calm. That's why you're different, because you have a different connection with knowing. It's not a pack knowing, it's a knowing from outside of yourself. You check in with yourself. What do I think? Not what does the pack believe? What does the pack want to do? What are we all going to do together? So now we have individuals here who think for themselves, can remain calm during stressful situations by setting the emotional reactions aside. So now you've also learned there are times when I must sometimes set my humanness aside and stand somewhere. You don't really know what you're standing in, but we're going to tell you that it's a sense of alignment. Humans who sit outside of the pack are standing in an aligned state. They are receiving information. Move this, do that, say this, go there. They're receiving information from outside of themselves. In order to receive it, you must be a channel. Otherwise, you can't hear anything. So those who stand alone receive information from outside because they're in alignment and they're able to hear it. And you are both like this. You are both able to connect with information outside of yourself. You call it different things, but it's the same. It's a belief outside of yourself that when things get crazy, you will be fine and you'll stand in a certain place and receive the information you need and become the kind of person necessary for the event. And that's your role. So you're not pack animals. So it was important to bring this similarity to the forefront of our energetic exchange, because it is not known to you, to both of you, but it is true nonetheless. Different and yet very much the same. Now, what shall we speak of?
Good evening, Aaron. If I can follow up on those comments, then is it important to have like a number of people that are similarly standing disconnected or standing outside of the pack in order to achieve change, for example, or to bring about something different? Or how does numbers or quantity correlate in that?
You have the sort of brain that likes to have these hard figures, and it's you feel more assured when there are numbers involved or something hard like this. It's important for these humans, though they're always really, the answer is not at all, because there are always these humans available. When there's a group and chaos going on, there's always one human who says, hey, wait a minute now. Something's wrong here. There's always someone who thinks outside of the group. So it is almost as if perhaps you've never thought this way in your whole life, but during this incident, all of a sudden you stand up. So it's not necessary for this type of human to always be the one outside of the pack. It could occur during some incident where all of a sudden now you're that human being. You step forth into it, and perhaps it'll be the only time you do it. So it's not as if this person goes through life in this role, but they could, such as yourself. And then there are others who step forward during extreme situations when there's no one else there. So that could be done once or something. So this is not, it can't be practically measured. But how do you see this, or how do you understand what we are saying to you? That even though there's chaos around you, you can remove yourself and connect to something outside that gives you orders, not really orders, gives you ideas, directions, thoughts. Do you know what we're talking about here?
Yeah, for me, I would just intuitively pick up what I need to do, and I have reacted differently than a crowd, like what was going on in a group situation in the past, because I got a sense that, well, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes. And where do you think this came from?
Something beyond myself. I don't know. I don't have that close of a communication with it, other than I get an intuitive sense from it. That's the extent of it.
Yes.
But my question kind of relates to people like prayer groups. They say, if you have a number of people that are setting intent together, the more people that are involved, that it creates a critical mass that can shift the energy or shift the direction that reality is unfolding in. So that was kind of the background to my question.
It is you're speaking of something quite different there. You're not speaking of circumstances where there's group mentality and one person steps aside. You are wondering if masses of humans with the same energy waves or the same thoughts can change something, but you're implying that something needs to be changed. So this whole analysis or this whole thought is quite, needs to be picked apart quite a bit for what is wrong with the way it is, first of all. And are the humans also becoming a pack, so therefore not thinking for themselves, so therefore losing their connection with the outer source? You see, there are many things with your question that are contrary to what we're getting at, which is that the leaders lead and the pack becomes a pack. Now you're trying to integrate the two together as if the pack can be the leaders, but it can't. A pack must behave as it does to get your world to certain places where there's mundane things going on. The pack mentality is very important also. It's necessary to get things completed that no one else wants to do. So pack groups of packs of humans get things done, but the leaders watch out for them, sort of like a shepherd. They also will notice if there's something going awry, and they'll point that out because they are aside. They have information, they're seeing things differently. Do you understand this?
I do. I conceptually understand what you're saying. I guess I'm looking at this, that if the point of connection is to be peace and ease through being connected, right? We've talked about that in the past. That's the natural state, right?
Yes.
Where people would feel calm, and kind of the purpose of living here is to be in that state, right?
Yes.
And I'm seeing in the world that many of the leaders incite violence or will incite a pack to follow around them in order to do something that supports their own ego, not in the best interest of the greater good.
Yes,
right?
correct.
So in my view, that is a negative thing, that maybe by standing outside of the pack, you could shift the direction of how events are unfolding by bringing a different energy to it, just as you talked about bringing a calming energy into a frenzied room or a frenzied group, right? That you could affect that. So I'm getting a sense that there's a positive aspect to being in that relaxed, connected state versus being in a frantic state of disarray and chaos.
Yes.
Now, maybe that chaos is necessary, like now
Yes.
pursuing your point to making change, there's aspects maybe that's required in order to bring something else about.
Correct.
But I see my purpose of trying to keep, as you're saying, if you can maintain that calm state, then maybe other people don't get so chaotic, and the violence or whatever that occurs out of it won't be so significant.
That is not always the end result. And the end result is not the point of the exercise. The point of the exercise is for those who stand alone to stand alone in it, for the pack to be the pack. So whatever your role is, it's to do that. It's to be that without knowing what the end result is. So it's not conditional behavior. It's your highest state of what you're capable of. So it doesn't matter what happens. The only thing that matters is that you stay in your connection. You call it your insightful, your other being when you're in this sort of state. So that is your only job, really. It's not to really save the pack. The pack doesn't need to be saved. The pack will be the pack always. But if they see you standing alone, it calms them down. Not by you doing anything at all. You can just stand there with a calm face, much like the lighthouse idea. So you can stand as a lighthouse You don't have to go out and save the crashing boats, but some of them will see you and they will save themselves. You see, it's up to each human to save themselves if they so desire. But whatever their calling is, that's what they're going to do. So really, it's not up for you to save anyone. But if you're able to stay in alignment, then that's your highest state. And that's when you will feel at ease, just as you have said.
Where does the role that you talked about, taking a role of doing this, how is that role determined? Maybe it's just a choice of words that you're using as a role.
Yes. So that would be up to you. And as we have said, there are some humans who come into their personality, which is this leader thinking outside of the box already. There are some who think outside of the box for only a few moments of their life, but it's during a crisis. And that might be the only time to do it. So as they choose to step into that role, it is absolutely a choice of each human whether they step into it or not, or allow the chaos to ensue or whatever's going around them. So some humans dislike chaos. You're one of them. You prefer everything to be calm and cool, but it isn't. So there's a part of you that always wants the others to calm down. Calm down, everything's going to be all right. Let's get this together. They can't. Their role is to be in chaos. Their role is to be, at least for the moment, in chaos. Perhaps maybe they'll be easy and calm a few days later. But what we are trying to get you to do is focus on yourself. You happen to be this kind of human being most of the time. So it's very natural for you. But not all others are. So it's not that you are chosen. You're not chosen to be the leader. You choose to be the leader. Mm-hmm. Really, it could be anyone in the pack, really. Someone could say, all right, now everyone calm down. I'm going to take charge of this. And as soon as they speak like that, everyone will calm down. So they can choose to be a leader at any moment. Most of the time, they don't wish to be. So they think differently than you. They behave, they move through the world differently than you. But that's their role. So it's not really, we're not encouraging you to change others. We're encouraging you to be yourself.
Very good. No, I was just I guess it's just a choice of word of role. I'd see that more as their choice of action or how they choose to interpret the situation, as opposed to role implies that there's something predetermined about it, that they're acting in a way, like a role of like being an actor in a play.
Oh, like
a character.
Yes,
yes. That's not the case here.
Yes, not to pretend. It is no. What we are saying is there are times when you come into your authentic self, even if it's only for a few minutes. Mm-hmm. And your authentic self would be someone who stands up or leads, or your authentic self is to be a pack leader, to fit in so no one sees you and become safe within the pack. So there are many different ways to live a life, and they're all whatever you choose to do. And it is really not up to the pack animal to get you to become involved, and it's not up to you to get them to change either. Is that understandable?
Yes, very good. Thank you. Can I ask a question to follow on with that? I think people in general will be interested in this. There was an individual in our history that was very significant to our culture, called Jesus, and he's claimed to be the Son of God and was acting in in a divine way. And Christianity and a lot of the belief system is structured around the teachings of Jesus. I was curious as how is Jesus, or how was he different from the typical human being that would come forward on the earth?
This is quite a big topic, for there are many human beings who would have much to say on this matter. When we speak of energetic beings coming back over and over and over, and being in an energetic space when you're not in your physical form, that includes all humans, all those who have come into humanity, come and go easily through, not easily always, but come in and out of humanity. So you are all capable of the same things. You will all have access to spiritual knowledge, or that's really your word, energetic knowledge. So it is not really a discussion to be had to speak of different humans during the time, different times of their existence. For each human comes back and back and back and back and back. There's not only one time. This conversation seems as if they have only lived once, and that was the most important time. But perhaps there were other times that would be equally important for the energetic being. So it is not really a discussion here to pick out humans who have existed in one of their lives and analyze it. For that human keeps coming back over and over and over, just like all of you have.
Well, just because he was such a revered human being because of the leadership qualities that he displayed and stepping out of the crowd, as you talked about. So that's what prompted.
So you admire this behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably for the same reason you choose Aaron as a name for the energy that comes through as a significant being, right? And in the same way, Aaron probably has had many other lives since as well, I'd imagine.
The name that we have chosen is sort of for your benefit, for you like to label things, not you specifically, but all humans. It is not really applicable exactly for all of your names change every lifetime. You really don't have a name, you see. And so it is sort of ironic that we were asked to provide some label to call this energy so it can be sort of sought or understood by others. Oh, that yes, we know what that is. We've heard that before. So it really has no significance to a lifetime of a human. It is just a title so that you may have something to call the energetic exchange. But really, it's the universe of love. That's really more correct. It's energy. It really doesn't have a name, you see. And the other problem with the energetic exchange is we are trying to use words and use the host to put words forth for an energy, which is word. There are no words to describe energy. It just exists. And yet here we are trying to have relationships with humans who call forth to ask for information, and they hear it through words. So this energy is trying to communicate and have a relationship with humans who are calling it forth in the way they're most familiar with, which is through words, through a human being and through words. Being moved by energy does not work for all humans, but that's really the accurate way for this. This is the best possible outcome for an energetic exchange.
Very good. Yeah, I thought the Aaron was a word that, if I remember the conversation correctly, it was after Moses' brother who was followed Moses and supported him from the back, from behind. I think that's how you described it. So,
oh yes, this is what the host has discovered and really likes. They like these sort of story tales. It's sort of meaningful, fluffy and cute and lively. Not lively, cute, we would say. So they like the connection in that way. So it is amusing, and the host is very easy to work with and very obliging. So we will work with the energy or the host as well. And they like to have amusing little stories sometimes. So that is our story. It is really not at all a name, for you believe you have a name and you really don't, and nor does anyone else. But it's sort of a funny little joke that you say, I'm so-and-so, but you're not at all that.
Mhm.
You're just borrowing the name for the time that you're there. It really doesn't mean anything. It's just for ease. So a human can say, hey, you human. You say, oh, that's me.
Mhm.
So you're labeling it. You really make yourselves quite small with labels. And that's the part of this that's as ironic, really, is that we've had to come up with a label, even though we don't believe in them. You see? So it's a bit of a, we'll just call it an irony.
Mhm. Very good. Understood. Thank you.
All right. Let us do namaste.
Very good.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Hello.
Hello, other leader.
I'm feeling like I should call you, instead of Aaron, just energy of love at the moment.
Yes, this is absolutely correct. But
Mhm.
humans don't like to, it's too vague. They don't understand that. What does that mean? How do you spell that? What does that mean? So it's sort of a game like that. So do you understand what we are saying when we speak of you thinking outside, thinking by yourself?
Yes, I do. It's something I've been thinking about even more lately. It's something I strive for even more. I remember when I was a child, felt like I was the calm in chaos sometimes, and I'm trying to learn to be that more now again as an adult. The calm
Let
and
us
the
correct one of your words.
yes.
You say learn as if you must be taught something that you don't know. That is the real meaning of that word. What you really are trying to say is, I wish to bring forth more of my higher self, my calm and ease self more often. I wish to remember more often what I'm really like. That's what you're really saying. You want to remember more of what you're really like. You're not going to learn anything.
Okay. I also want to say that I feel that my brain and ego really needed to hear what you had to say today, because I've been frowned upon so much in my past for thinking outside the box. So I think it really put my brain and ego more at ease. So thank you for that.
Yes.
I'm not sure what else to say upon the matter.
We will speak of your brain and ego. You have learned that they are one because you are saying them together. This is correct. Oh, we've used the word learn that we just told you not to use, which is sort of funny. But you have heard it over and over again from this energetic exchange. And now do you believe this to be so? Your brain and ego are one? Work together. We should say work together as one.
That makes more sense to me. Yes, work together. Yes.
Yes, for they are very distinct, but really they have the same end goal all of the time. So you've come to understand this enough where you're able to have them step aside at some times and have your energetic self come out to play. Or the
Yes.
recognition, the division must be noticed. Otherwise, without this division of brain and ego and your highest energetic self, you believe they must always work together all of the time. So this is the way of many humans. There's no difference. We're all the same. So we must always move through life the same. So therefore, when we're angry, we're all angry. When we are sad, we're all sad. And they encompass their higher selves with it. But really what's going on is they're leaving they're quieting the higher energetic self and asking it to be silent. So really the brain and ego can suppress temporarily the energetic self by talking and taking charge of the life and talking. When you're sleeping, it's talking. And when you're working, it's talking. All of the time, your brain and ego talk. And there's no space for the energetic self. So it can be made smaller in a lifetime, but you have specifically named it so. And each time you do that, you point out again to your energetic self that there's room. There's room for it in your life because you've just said so. When my brain and ego step aside and your energetic self is, oh, great. She means that we can come play if we like. There's room for us here. There's room for it. This is very important because you wish to have a life that's full and friendly and lively and all of these things. That's the way you really want to live. So that you're allowing more and more space for your energetic self because it knows how to have fun. It knows how to access information. It's intuitive. It can be one with the trees. All of this, that's your energetic self. That's not your brain and ego. But you need to be friends with the brain and ego. And also by naming them as so, you've created much more space for your higher spiritual self to come out and play. Do you understand what we mean?
I do, because the brain and ego do a very good job at trying to squash your energetic self.
Yes, it's not always on purpose. It believes it has a very strong mission, which is to keep you alive. And in order to keep you alive, it has to talk your head off. So it has to talk all the time. You still here? Are you okay? You're not going to do anything weird. Okay, are you all right? You still all right? Are you all blah, blah, blah? All the time, your brain talks like this. So it's not as if it's trying to destroy the energetic self. It's really not aware of its presence. It only believes that your brain and ego are only alive as long as you have been in this physical form. So it doesn't really know there's any more to you than beyond this. Each brain and ego from each life only knows a small part of you, but they don't know there's anything else. So that's that. So you can't really fault them for that. They just don't know any better. But so it's not they're intentionally causing you discomfort or unease. It's they wish to do their job the best way they can. So they're very hard, diligent workers. But we just wish to point out to you that you have made the division yourself by saying brain and ego. So now you're able to have two parts of your life, and they can get along very well, just fine, as long as they each have, as long as they each understand what you wish of them, what you want from them. For if you don't tell them what they want, the brain and ego will just take over. It's not the other way ever. If you don't say anything, the spiritual self takes over. No, because your spiritual self has been alive all the time. It's chill, it's calm, it doesn't matter. It knows in a minute you'll not be in this physical form. So it's very at ease. So it doesn't have this just same sense of urgency that your brain and ego do to get things done and live the life. And, oh, I must do this, I must do that, and I'm going to be that kind of human, all of that. So your energetic self is very easy. Does that bring up anything within you that you need to speak of?
Well, I can see the reasoning why you would want your brain, but I'm still, I guess, trying to figure out the reasoning why you need an ego.
Why you need it in your life?
Well, you said, like, tell it exactly why you want, like, what its role would be. So what would something that would be, what would a positive reason for an ego to be?
Oh, well, your ego, you see, has really gotten a bad rap because humans only speak of ego as if it's the evil part of you. But what if it's just the part of you that comes into existence when you come into your physical form? They automatically come in together. They're a team. The brain and ego, they come together. So your ego keeps you alive just as much as your brain. Your brain does all the mathematical problems, but your ego drives it. We must live. We must excel. We will get more. That's the ego talking. That's not the brain. The brain says, well, I know how to add all of this. I know how to file these numbers, and I can make computer decisions, all of that. That's the brain's job. The ego's job is to push it forward. You see? So it's not that your ego's bad. Really, it's just a part of you during your human time. But it's only noticed when it's in negative. But your ego's just works with your lifetime experience. Does that make any sense?
So it's almost like the ego can be what helps you put something into motion.
Oh, yes. Yes. It's not evil. It's not your bad alter ego or anything. It's a part of each human being as you move through life. And it feels at certain times it says, I'm very, very important. Don't you know that? At other times it says, I'm not important at all. So it really doesn't really know, you see. It goes from I'm the most important to I'm the least important. So therefore, you can't make up your mind. So the ego fluctuates. So it is not always a bad thing. It's not always a good thing, but it's something to be noticed. It's a part of you, your human experience that needs a little respect, just like the brain, just like your spiritual self. They all coexist together. Is that more clear?
Yes, I think so. I know I've had a lot of negative programming through the ego through my lifetime that I've tried to change.
Yes. Yeah, it is as if you must watch out for your ego. It's going to get you. Maybe not. Maybe your ego's right in the balance. Maybe you just think you're as important as you actually are. You see, that's still your ego. Oh, I work very well at this and I'm not very good at that. And I'm pretty good here. That's your ego too. I'm very good. I'm very bad. I'm mediocre, whatever it is. It's all the ego. That's the ego that speaks of these things. Is that good for you?
I think so, yes.
Let us do namaste.
Certainly.
Namaste. We will conclude our gathering. May we have a note to bring the energy together.